You've been booked and busy, and congratulations on that. You've been in a lot of projects this year. What was it about this role of Steve and Roofman that like made you want to do this?
Thank you. Yeah, I've been trying to, keep myself busy as it's tide shifts in both the business, but, just in life in general. Things have been shaken up a little bit with the advent of all of these new technologies and also just like the economic and social, spiritual state of the world and the nation. So I've been just keeping afloat, keeping myself busy, hopefully adding to conversations and these stories that could be useful. And that brings me to Roofman, which, I read and I was like, well, it's just a sweet story and I think it'll be a good time. And Derek Cianfrance is doing it, who, I value his work, and Channing Tatum, who I think is an amazing artist. And I wanted to be a part of that for those reasons and to hopefully take a crack at doing something heartfelt in time and space where I felt so many things were coming in my direction that weren't that. Here was something that was. And it was with filmmakers who I knew would, take an approach that would yield great results in terms of like personal growth as an artist. Like you get on the ground, you use what you got, and you make what you can. It's not something that like had a whole bunch of fluff surrounding it. It was a
Mhm.
pretty raw. This is what it was. This is what we're gonna make, and I think it would make the world a better place. I say that in a way that like in the humblest way, to share it with people and then be able to be a part of something that you walk out of theater being like, that felt good. That was a story that I can walk out of and be like, I feel inspired. So that's what I wanted to do.
So interesting, with everything you stated. Do you feel that this movie is somewhat timely, especially with everything kind of going on? It blurs a little bit of the lines of right and wrong and having compassion for even someone that does something wrong.
I do. Yes. And I think that's a really good point. We do got to have compassion for others and try to understand people's perspective from different walks of life. We in the position where there's this necessary chasm of like the haves and have nots, the do's and don'ts, the blacks, the whites, the men, the women. There's so many different divides that are constantly being treaded upon and exasperated by social media and different other things that take away the nuances of real connection and real compassion and empathy. And so we got to remind ourselves that the person right next to me, they still the homie. Like that's an American. You know what I'm saying? That's a black man. That's a black woman. That's within our smaller groups. Like we were, just nod and respect that we still here. You know what I'm saying? Like all our ancestors before us had laid down the track for us to be here, and their work is important. And we should show up and love each other. And try to spread love to each other and each other's kids. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody trying to survive and get it like the next. And at the end of the day, we're all in this story together. And that's what I love about this story and Roof Man. It's like, even though you ain't really together yet, I'm your homie. I'm Steve. I'm the homie I'm going to do whatever I got to do to help you. And hopefully my words of encouragement and tough love will transmute into something that could put the fire up underneath you to love yourself better and love yourself more and not end up in situations that could be harmful to you and the ones you love. Because a road to hell is paved with good intention. You could try to love as much as you want, but if you're not in a position and seated to love in your own personal growth journey, you often end up hurting people, and it may not even be what you wanted to do. And that was something that like really resonated with me. And I was like, yeah, man, every individual, you got to grow to love yourself so that you can be loved.
Listen, first off, I feel like with this role, it either came to you at a certain point or like maybe you were very reflective after the fact. But in playing Steve, do you feel like it helped you grow or give you a different perspective in certain things?
Yeah, absolutely. It grew me as a performer because I am typically like really gracious as a performer and like just in general like I'm a person that even if somebody get my order wrong I'm gonna be like okay it's all right you tried like I show a lot of like compassion for people so and sometimes to a fault like I'm so kind sometimes it's like you don't need to be that kind. So with this character, he was really direct and blunt and kind of like tough love to his friends. So I had to adjust and incorporate that more in my position and perspective to be that for this. And so it was challenging at times because instead of being like, please, man, for me, don't do that. I had to be like, nah, get on this motherfucking train. What are you talking about? Get on this train, do this thing. Da da. So, it's just like working a new muscle for me. And I thought it would be good for those people who had difficulty sometimes with being direct and being stern when they needed to, especially to their loved ones. Sometimes you got family members going through things and they need to hear the hard things. And so I thought maybe people might be able to gather something useful from that.
Now, when you look at Jeffrey and Steve's friendship, do you think loyalty can sometimes be its own kind of downfall?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was just alluding to. Is like sometimes when you got family and you'd be like, they blood. So, I let you stay in my house, and then you let them stay in your house. And then they start bringing all kind of other people over your house. And now your house is messy and everything going on all wrong because you try to do what was best for your person. But sometimes the best thing is to just let them go and to let them find their path and let them learn and, or, give them the hard message that like, look, I can only go this far. I've walked this far with you, but right now I got to let you walk on your own for you and for me.
Yeah.
And sometimes you gotta learn how to do that.
Yeah, I think that's gonna resonate with people a lot. And what truth about manhood, pride, and survival do you think Ruth Man exposes?
In terms of manhood, um, you know, what I like to do now is like refocus on that term and kind of like change it to humanhood. And I think it just like gives it maybe an overall feeling. I think being a man is being a human and understanding that, you have to incorporate all different aspects of things. I think we're sort of trained to be like, fight, fight, fight. And that's good for certain environments. And that's what you got to do in certain environments. But hopefully the goal is to get to a place where now we don't have to fight as hard and we don't have to fight the people around us and we don't have to, raise our kids in environments where being tough and dog eat dog and you don't let nobody come and take you put your bows up. Hopefully we're trying to get into an environment where that has to be less the mentality, where now the mentality could be, yeah, you work hard and yeah, you put your strength and ambition toward building. But hopefully that means now we can build out and everybody can live in peace and harmony. And it ain't got to be about you get out my way. It's only one piece of steak and operating off of scarcity. So I hope that this sheds light on a humanity that appeals to manhood in the way to say, like, you know, if we could face our problems head on, then the amount of collateral damage that we do as a result of trying to heal is reduced. If you can just be honest with yourself and be like, look, I got a problem. There's something that I need to work on internally, or maybe I got an anger issue, or maybe this ain't the way. Then you don't have to then hurt a bunch of other people trying to, push blame off on everything else. Sometimes as men, we got to start with ourselves. How am I wrong? And how can I be better? And I think that's sometimes a hard thing to do, but that's why it's valuable.
Yeah. Listen, I feel like I can ask you tons more questions, but I do appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. And congratulations on this film and others. And just last thing, if you could describe this in one word, this film, and what people will take away from it, what would it be?
Authenticity.